Look around the animal kingdom. Gorillas are covered in fur, wolves are covered, even elephants, with skin-like armor, grow a coat of wiry bristles. Nearly every mammal on Earth wears a coat. And then there's you. Look at your arm, smooth, bare, practically naked. Of all the large mammals alive, we're the odd one out. For more than 2 million years, our ancestors wore thick fur. Then, bit by bit, they traded almost all of it away. Scientists literally call us the naked ape. Why would evolution strip away something that useful? In 2000, anthropologist Nina Jablonski helped pin down the leading explanation in the Journal of Human Evolution. It's stranger than you'd expect. It connects the sweat on your forehead, the color of human skin, and the clothes you're wearing right now. You're standing in open grassland 2 million years ago. The sun is straight overhead. There's no shade for miles. Our ancestors' world was opening up. They were walking farther every day just to find food. And in that world, a thick coat of fur stopped being a blessing. It became a parka you can never take off, worn at noon on the equator. And heat is not a small problem for a body. Push a mammal too hot for too long, and it simply shuts down. And no organ is fussier about heat than a brain. As our ancestors' brains slowly grew, staying cool stopped being optional. In 1991, biologist Peter Wheeler worked through the physics in the Journal of Human Evolution. Standing upright already helped. A body on 2 legs catches far less midday sun than a body on 4. But the real weapon was hiding in our skin. Sweat. Right now, you're carrying somewhere between 2 and 5 million sweat glands. Almost no other animal is built like that. Each one pushes salty water onto your skin. As it dries, it pulls heat out of you. Working flat out, a human body can sweat away more than a liter an hour. No other primate comes close. Chimps barely sweat. Dogs have to pant. Pigs wallow in mud. We drip. And dripping, it turns out, is a superpower. Fur ruins the trick. The water evaporates out in the hair, far from the skin it's meant to cool. Strip the fur away, and the whole body becomes a radiator. Researchers have called us walking radiators. So while every other hunter hid from the midday sun, our ancestors kept moving. The hottest, deadliest hours of the day quietly became ours. And that opened a door no other animal could walk through. In 2004, biologists Dennis Bramble and Daniel Lieberman published a famous paper in Nature. Their case: the human body is built for endurance. Look at yourself the way an engineer would. Springy tendons in your ankles that store energy and give it back. Arched feet, strong gluteal muscles, even a ligament that steadies your head mid-stride. We were never built to be fast. We were built to go far. A cheetah leaves us in the dust for about a minute. Then it must stop, or it overheats. Nearly every fast animal lives by that rule: sprint, overheat, rest. Our ancestors made the opposite bet: slow, steady, and never stopping. No sprint, just a walking pace that never needed mercy from the weather. On a hot day, they could follow an animal for hours, letting the sun do the heavy lifting. In 2006, anthropologist Louis Liebenberg documented hunters in the Kalahari still doing it. Steady pursuits of 2 to 5 hours until the animal simply gave out. That superpower deserves its own story. For fur, what matters is the engine underneath. Bare skin and a few million sweat glands had done something remarkable. They turned an ordinary ape into the most relentless traveler on Earth. So when did the fur actually go? Here's the problem. Fur doesn't fossilize. You can dig for a century and never find a single ancient hair. No fur in the fossil record means scientists had to get creative. But bodies keep receipts. The first is written in our bones. In 1984, near Lake Turkana in Kenya, fossil hunter Kamoya Kimiu spotted a sliver of fossil skull. His team uncovered the most complete early human skeleton ever found. A boy, 1.5 million years old. Scientists call him Turkana Boy. Tall, long-legged, narrow, a frame built for shedding heat. A walker's body, not a climber's. Bone by bone, he looked built for the sun. The second receipt is written in our genes. In 2004, Geneticists Alan Rogers, David Iltis, and Stephen Wooding went hunting in our DNA. They traced the history of a skin pigment gene in current anthropology. Its pattern says dark, sun-shielding skin was locked in place very early, by their estimate, more than 1 million years ago. And dark skin only matters on skin the sun can actually reach. Pigment is the kind of shield you only build when the coat is already gone, which means by then, the fur was already mostly gone. Our ancestors have been naked for over 1 million years, probably closer to 2. But bare skin came with bills to pay, and the first one burned. Naked under an equatorial sun, skin takes a beating. Sunburn for us is a bad weekend. For a body living outdoors every day, it's a real threat. Worse, strong sunlight destroys folate, a nutrient that healthy pregnancies depend on. Jablonski's team mapped human skin tones against sunlight levels across the planet. The match is almost perfect. The answer evolution found was melanin, a pigment that soaks up the rays before they do damage. Sunscreen, you grow. Dark skin and bare skin evolved together, two halves of the same trade. And here's the part nobody talks about. The sun was only half the bill. The other half came due at night. You're lying on bare ground, the heat left with the sun. By midnight, you're shaking. Fur would have fixed this. Fire helped, a circle of warmth in the dark. Shelter helped. And eventually, something stranger. We started wearing the fur we no longer grew. Clothing is the one trade no other animal ever made. Wrapped in hides, our ancestors could follow the cold north, into lands fur had once forbidden. But cloth and hide rot. You can't dig up the first outfit. So how do we date the first clothes? The answer is one of the strangest receipts in science. Lice. Head lice live on hair, but clothing lice live only in fabric. They cannot exist without clothes. In 2003, geneticist Ralph Kittler and his colleagues read the DNA clock between the two kinds of louse in current biology. The split marks the invention of clothing, possibly around 100,000 years ago. A 2011 reanalysis pushed the range even further back. Both numbers are estimates, and researchers treat them as a range, not a birthday. First the fur went, then skin darkened. Then, ages later, clothes appeared. We replaced a coat we couldn't take off with one we could. Now, the honest part, why exactly the fur went is still argued. In 2003, evolutionary biologists Mark Pagel and Walter Bodmer offered another piece. Less fur means fewer parasites, fewer ticks, fewer fleas, fewer of the diseases they carry. A naked ape would have fewer parasites. Charles Darwin, back in 1871, suspected something simpler. Our ancestors may simply have found less fur more attractive. The truth is probably a mix, and scientists still argue about the recipe. That's normal science. Single neat answers are usually the suspicious ones. One story you can cross out: the old idea that we lost our fur during a swimming phase. Most scientists reject it, and yet the strangest discovery isn't why the fur left. It's that, strictly speaking, it never did. Here's the twist. Look closely at your arm again. Closer this time. Count the hairs. In 2013, anthropologist Aaron Sandell compared hair density across dozens of mammals in the American Journal of Physical Anthropology. The result? Your skin carries about the same density of hair follicles as a chimpanzee's. We never lost the follicles. The hairs themselves shrank into vellus hair, short, fine, almost colorless. You are wearing an invisible coat right now. A 2018 study added the punchline: the same follicles as other primates, but around 10 times the sweat glands. Fur didn't vanish. It was miniaturized, and the space was flooded with coolant. Evolution rarely deletes. It repurposes, shrinks, and leaves the wiring in place, and the old machinery still works. At the base of every tiny hair sits a tiny muscle. When you're cold or scared, those muscles fire, hauling the hairs upright to fluff a coat that is no longer there. All you get is goosebumps. Cold air, a sad song, a scary scene in a film. The ancient coat still answers. Goosebumps are your fur trying to come back. So tonight, when the air goes cold and you pull a blanket up, that's the trade, still being paid. When a chill raises tiny bumps along your arms, That's your body trying to puff up fur it gave away before anyone alive can remember. It's a 2 million-year-old reflex, still firing in a heated apartment. And when a sweat stain embarrasses you, maybe give it a little respect. That dripping, inelegant, quietly miraculous system is why our ancestors could walk out under a sun that stopped every other hunter. And why, on the far side of 2 million years, you're here to feel the chill at all. We didn't lose our fur, we traded it for the most stubborn cooling system life has ever built. The receipts are still written on your skin.